Do you think it's true that an apple a day keeps the doctor away? That's what we'll review in this science article so you can expand your vocabulary with 56 words and full phrases. Welcome back to JForrest English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. First, I'll read the headline. Is it true that an apple a day keeps the doctor away? Is this a proverb that exists in your language? This is a proverb that exists in English to encourage you to eat apples or just healthy food in general. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. That's why here in the subheader, it's a tale as old as time, because proverbs have been told for years and years and years. So that's a tale, a story, as old as time. So that represents the proverb, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Now notice this question here. Is it true? That is optional grammatically in this sentence. You can say, is it true? An apple a day keeps the doctor away without that, and it's still grammatically correct. The phrase, is it true, is used to confirm that something you heard or read is true. So for example, let's say someone wrote in the comment, Jennifer, why are you quitting YouTube? You could reply back and say, is it true? Is it true you're quitting YouTube? Remember, you can add that optionally. So you can say, is it true that, but it's not required. Is it true you're quitting YouTube? So you add, is it true, these three words, and then subject, verb, object. So here our verb is in the present continuous because it sounds like it is an action in progress. So the action of me quitting YouTube is not complete, so that's why it isn't in the past simple, but you could. So what's the past simple of the verb to quit? It's quit, not quitted. That doesn't exist. It's quit. So is it true you quit YouTube? That would be the past simple, so it's a completed action, whereas this one, it's in progress. But you want to know if the comment you read is true. And if you find out that potentially bad news, like me quitting YouTube, if you think that's bad news, you won't have these free lessons anymore, but you find out it isn't true, it isn't accurate, you can use the expression, oh, what a relief, what a relief. So you only need these three words, but if you want to turn it into the full sentence, you could say, what a relief that you're not quitting YouTube. But again, here, that is optional. What a relief you're not quitting YouTube. So you just put that action, you're quitting YouTube, and you just make it negative. And just to be clear, I'm not quitting YouTube. So if you think this is positive news, put what a relief, put what a relief in the comments. Now, don't worry about taking these notes because I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF. You can find the link in the description. Let's review the final sentence here. But does the fruit being apples, but does the fruit really live up to its healthy hype? This is a great expression, to live up to its hype or the hype. This expression means to meet or exceed expectations. So you eat an apple and you have the expectation that it's healthy. So if the apple lives up to the hype, it means you feel healthy. Now, it could also exceed the expectation. You feel really happy, happier than you expected. So let's say there's a new movie and there's all this hype. There's all these commercials or posts saying this movie is amazing. Now, so that's your expectation. The movie is amazing. If you watch the movie and it's amazing, it lives up to the hype. If it isn't amazing, then it doesn't live up to the hype. So you make it negative. For example, the movie was good, but remember, your expectation was amazing. The movie was good, but it didn't live up to the hype. The hype, again, is just another word for expectation. So that's what this means, and it is very commonly used in an everyday context, so I recommend adding that to your vocabulary. So now you know the headline. We'll find out if the proverb, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, lives up to the hype. Surprisingly, perhaps, Dr. Emily Leeming, a dietitian at King's College London, thinks this age-old saying, what's the age-old saying? The proverb, an apple a day keeps a doctor away. That's the tale as old as time, the age-old saying, the proverb, isn't entirely off the mark. So she thinks it isn't entirely off the mark. So what do you think? Does it live up to the hype in her opinion, in the doctor's opinion? To understand how the doctor feels about this proverb, you need to understand what off the mark means. So the mark could represent the situation. And then if it's off the mark, it means it's inaccurate or incorrect. The opposite, on the mark, means accurate or correct. So here she said isn't entirely off the mark. So it sounds like she believes there are positive benefits of an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But because she uses isn't entirely, it sounds like part of it is on, but some of it may be off. So we can't say definitively it lives up to the hype, but it sounds like there's something positive about it. Another great expression to mean on the mark, and one I think is very commonly used, is spot on. Now notice all three of these use the verb to be. So our budget was off the mark. So we created a budget for how much the project would cost, but it wasn't accurate. It wasn't correct. Our budget was off the mark. Our budget was on the mark. Our budget was accurate, correct. Our budget was spot on, spot on. To me, this means 100% accurate or correct. So it sounds more precise than just saying on the mark. Spot on means we said 1,500 and the exact cost was 1,500. Spot on. Are you enjoying this lesson? If you are, then I want to tell you about the Finally Fluent Academy. This is my premium training program where we study native English speakers from TV, movies, YouTube, and the news so you can improve your listening skills of fast English, expand your vocabulary with natural expressions, and learn advanced grammar easily. Plus, you'll have me as your personal coach. You can look in the description for the link to learn more, or you can go to my website and click on Finally Fluent Academy. Now let's continue with our lesson. Apples are a rich source of phytonutrients that are important for your immune system, like vitamin C and antioxidants. So here they're giving you examples of phytonutrients. To be honest, I'm not sure what phytonutrients are, but it sounds like these are two examples of them. Now notice here it uses apples with the plural. Why is that? This is an important grammatical concept and one I see even my most advanced students make mistakes with. When you have the plural noun, you're talking about the entire category. So not just one specific apple or an apple in general. So if you use an article, an apple, you're making it singular. You're talking about one. But here we're talking about the category. So we use the plural, and because it's not specific, we don't use an article. Let's review rich. Of course, you know rich can mean money. She's rich. She has a lot of money. Rich in this context and as an adjective means a high concentration or a high amount. I guess a high amount of wealth describes someone who is rich, so perhaps that definition still remains. A rich source, a high concentration, high amount of these phytonutrients. And notice that pronunciation, phyto, like phone, but this is a I, phyto. So thinking about this definition, this adjective is very commonly used to describe food. This chocolate cake is rich. So it means it has a high concentration, high amount of the main ingredient, which in this case is chocolate. Now, keep in mind though, this isn't a positive or a negative thing. It depends on your specific taste buds if this is positive or negative. So for you, would this be a positive thing for this chocolate cake to have a high concentration, high intensity of chocolate? Or would it be more of a negative thing? Maybe it's too sweet, too strong. So you can decide which emoji represents you. Bring it on. You like that rich flavor or a little too rich for you? Share your choice in the comments just for fun. So apples are a rich source of phytonutrients that are important for your immune system, like vitamin C and antioxidants, she says, she being the doctor. Vitamin C helps your body to produce antibodies and your immune cells to travel to sites of infection. Okay, so this is the role of antibodies. Now notice here, helps your body to produce. This is probably the structure that you're very common with, you're most common with. However, a lot of times students ask me when the to is omitted. Helps your body produce. And they want to know, why not to produce? Do you know the answer? Both are grammatically correct. In American English, which I speak and therefore teach, it's more common to omit to because both are accepted grammatically. So the structure in American English that's used mainly is help someone or something do something. So not to do, which is here. So helps your body. This is the something to do, to produce. But in American English, we just use the base verb, produce. But if you're already comfortable using it with the infinitive, then keep doing that. Just understand when you see it without, this is the structure, it's grammatically correct, and it's common in American English. And remember, when we have this and, you use the same grammar as before. So that's why we have something to do something. If this were an American article, it would be, and help your immune cells travel to sites of infection. While antioxidants can reduce excess inflammation, helping you bounce back faster if you get sick. Now, interesting here because the author did not use the to. Generally, if you use it, you would be consistent in your grammatical use of it. So because this author used it here, stylistically, it would make more sense to also use it here and say, helping you to bounce back faster. Now, let's talk about bounce back. Do you know what this means? To bounce back faster in this case. This means to recover quickly from illness or a setback. So here, this is the context of an illness. So if you get sick or you have an injury even, someone could say, oh, you'll bounce back. Or you could say, oh, I broke my leg, but I bounced back quickly. So I recovered quickly. Now, you can also use this for a setback, so a challenge or difficulty. For example, the company quickly bounced back after filing for bankruptcy. So this is the setback, the challenge or difficulty, but they quickly recovered. So here, bounce is our verb, so you need to conjugate that. In this case, it's in the past simple. Let's continue. More than that. So more than all of the points that were just raised, more than that. So another way that you're probably familiar with is saying moreover, or simply saying also or in addition. Here are some synonyms for you. More than that, the fruit, again, apples. The fruit is particularly good for gut health. Particularly is another way of saying especially. So you're emphasizing this one thing that is good for gut health. Now let's review good for. Apples are good for you. Apples are beneficial for you. They produce benefits. Now, you probably are familiar with, she's good at making apple pies. She is good at. So to be good at, and notice here your gerund verb, to be good at doing something means to be highly skilled, to possess the skill or ability. But keep in mind that I don't know if apple pie has the same benefits as apples in general. Maybe they do. You'll have to ask the doctor. Let's continue. Given that 70% of your immune cells live in your gut, we use given that when you want to say that you're considering or taking into account a fact or a condition or a situation. So this is the fact or consideration. 70% of your immune cells live in your gut. So this is what we're considering, given that, considering. Often a synonym would be because, and in this case it works. Sometimes it doesn't work, but in general, that's an easy way to think of it, as because. So given this piece of information, a healthy gut microbiome is an important part of supporting your immune system. Now, you could reverse these and say a healthy gut is important because 70% of your immune cells live in your gut. So you could change that order and therefore use because, and it would be the common way to say that. So in the other case, you can use given that or considering the fact that. Says Leeming, our doctor in this article. She says, so she being Leeming, the doctor, she says apples, again, the general category, she says apples support this system in two ways. First, just one apple contains 100 million microbes, which have been shown to contribute to your gut microbiome, helping it to break down. So again, this is where in American English, it would just be helping it break down food. So to break down food is when you have something solid, like the solid piece of meat you ate, and then to dissolve it, to turn that solid into many smaller parts. But we also do this with a problem or something that sounds very difficult, like learning English, learning an entire language, or learning English grammar even learning English phrasal verbs. Well, break it down. First learn separable phrasal verbs, then learn inseparable, then learn the most common academic. So take the whole part of learning phrasal verbs and make it into smaller pieces that are easier to manage. So you could say, let's break down phrasal verbs and focus on separable phrasal verbs. So take the whole and make it into smaller parts. Let's continue. So it was to break down food and make phytonutrients available to the body to use. Second, an average apple contains around 4, what does this represent? 4 grams of fiber. This is a fuel source for the good bacteria in your gut, which help regulate immune response. Okay, so notice here, again, the author used which help and then base verb. So again, if you do use the infinitive, it would be best practice to always use the infinitive, because generally I don't change from one to the other. I always use the base verb. So that's would be my recommendation to you, which help to regulate, because that's what was used previously, or just use all base verb to help, which help regulate. Now, since we're here, looking back at this part, why do you think this is in the plural form? Which help. They help. Which help. So what's our subject? Our subject is the good bacteria in your gut, but good is an adjective. An adjective in your gut is a adverb. So here we just have bacteria. Bacteria is plural. That's why it's they. So bacteria, they help. The singular is bacterium, but it's rare to focus on one just because there are millions or trillions or how many number of them there are. So it's commonly just used as the plural, bacteria. For an even higher fiber fruit, Try pomegranate, kiwi, or raspberries. So notice this is in parentheses, meaning it's additional information. So if you also have these types of fruit, then you could be getting a great source of fiber. Of course, Leeming says no one food can stop you from getting sick. So stop you from, you could also say prevent you from getting sick. In this structure, we have a subject, you, from, and then we have our gerund verb, which is very commonly used. You, and then the thing is sick. But you could take this and turn it into a noun, which in this case, it could be illness or sickness you could use as well. Illness, I think, is more common. No one food can prevent illness, can stop illness, because illness is a something. No one food can prevent you from getting sick. So both of these structures are very commonly used. A variety of different types of fruit and vegetables provides a range of nutrients and other antioxidants for your health. Let's take a look here, because notice our verb is to provide, but it has the S on it, which means it's conjugated in third person singular in the present simple. But why is that? What is the subject? Because here I see fruit and vegetables, that would be they. I see types, that would also be they, but those aren't the subjects. The subject is a variety, a variety. This just describes the variety, but the variety itself is the subject and it's singular. I know that because it has a, so that is our singular article. A variety provides a range. So when you use a variety, you will have a plural noun that describes the variety, but the verb is conjugated with a variety, which is singular. It provides. It provides a range of nutrients and other antioxidants for your health, she says. Regularly eat whole grains, beans, nuts, and seeds, as they are particularly, so here's our word again, that means especially, so emphasizing high in fiber, so emphasizing these, particularly high in fiber, helping you to reach, so again, now you know in American English, it would be helping you reach 30 grams of fiber a day, which I guess is the recommended amount. Now notice here we have regularly, which is our adverb of frequency, but our sentence is in the imperative. It starts with the base verb, eat whole grains. So imagine a doctor is speaking to you and you ask your doctor, oh, what can I do to get more fiber? And your doctor will communicate this as an instruction using the imperative, which is the base verb. Eat whole grains, beans, nuts. And then, of course, the adverb just tells you how frequently you should eat whole grains, beans, nuts. Regularly. So more often than not. How often is regularly? It sounds like it's a routine part. I don't know, perhaps 4 to 5, 6, 7 times. You'll have to confirm with your doctor. Let's continue. How long will it take for tweaks to your diet to have a positive impact on your gut microbiome? So tweaks represent small changes. So adding in some beans or nuts or an apple a day, small changes, tweaks. This verb is commonly used in a workplace situation because your boss could ask you to make some tweaks to the budget, tweaks to the presentation, tweaks to the report, some small changes. And just like you would use the verb make with changes, you could say, I made a few changes. I made a few tweaks. So if you want to use the word changes, you might say, I made a few minor changes. Minor changes, because tweaks means small changes. So this would have the same meaning. I made a few tweaks. I made a few minor changes. So remember, you use the verb make and then you conjugate that verb accordingly. So here it's something, 4 tweaks, 4 small changes to your diet to have a positive impact on your gut microbiome, as little as 3 days, says Leeming. As little as, notice both of this emphasizes the small amount. You could also say in only 3 days. That would be correct. As little as 3 days, to me, this sounds stronger. It sounds like it's more emphasized. So if you want to emphasize the smallness of an amount or quantity, you could use as little as. And that's the end of our article. So now I'll read the article again, and this time you can focus on my pronunciation. Is it true that an apple a day keeps the doctor away? It's a tale as old as time, but does the fruit really live up to its healthy hype? Surprisingly, perhaps, Dr. Emily Leeming, a dietitian at King's College London, thinks this age-old saying isn't entirely off the mark. Apples are a rich source of phytonutrients that are important for your immune system, like vitamin C and antioxidants, she says. Vitamin C helps your body to produce antibodies and your immune cells to travel to sites of infection, while antioxidants can reduce excess inflammation, helping you bounce back faster if you get sick. More than that, the fruit is particularly good for gut health. Given that 70% of your immune cells live in your gut, a healthy gut microbiome is an important part of supporting your immune system, says Leeming. She says apples support this system in 2 ways. First, just 1 apple contains 100 million microbes, which have been shown to contribute to your gut microbiome, helping it to break down food and make phytonutrients available to the body to use. Second, an average apple contains around 4 grams of fiber. This is a fuel source for the good bacteria in your gut, which help regulate immune response. For an even higher fiber fruit, try pomegranate, kiwi, or raspberries. Of course, Leeming says, no one food can stop you from getting sick. A variety of different types of fruit and vegetables provides a range of nutrients and other antioxidants for your health, she says. Regularly eat whole grains, beans, nuts, and seeds, as they are particularly high in fiber, helping you to reach 30 grams of fiber a day. How long will it take for tweaks to your diet to have a positive impact on your gut microbiome? As little as 3 days, says Leeming. Do you want me to make another lesson just like this? If you do, put let's go, put let's go in the comments. And of course, make sure you like this lesson, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And you can keep expanding your vocabulary with this lesson. Make sure you watch it right now.